Good afternoon, students. Welcome to the class. We were discussing solutions. In this class, we will discuss about Henry's law and then different distillation techniques. What is Henry's law? It states that the vapor partial pressure of solute I above an ideally dilute solution is proportional to the mole fraction of I in the solution. Raoult's law and Henry's law, they are almost similar. The partial pressure of solute I above an ideally dilute solution. What is an ideally dilute solution? Ideally dilute solution means a solution where the mole fraction of solvent reaches almost 1, right? So the partial vapor pressure of solute is proportional to its mole fraction. When we remove mole proportionality, we will take some constant Ki. Here, Ki is called as Henry's constant. Generally, mole fractions doesn't have any units because it is a ratio between moles. So the units of K are nothing but units of pressure. Units of K are nothing but units of pressure. In an ideally dilute solution, the solvent obeys Raoult's law and the solute obeys Henry's law. Now we will discuss about distillation. Distillation is a technique of purification of solvent mixture. When we have solvent mixtures, then we can purify each and every solvent using distillation techniques. There are different techniques, but first we will see the instruments. This is called round bottomed flask. Generally we call it as RB flask, round bottomed flask. This is called beaker, and this is conical flask. Now, in the distillation process, we will take mixture of solvents. There will be mixture of solvents, maybe 2 or 3, maybe more than that. Then first thing is we need to heat this. How do we heat it? We generally heat it through flame. But remember, in a chemical laboratory, we will have many chemicals, we will have many solvents. Solvents are nothing but they are highly flammable liquids. So in a place where we have storage of many flammable compounds, it is highly difficult or it is highly dangerous to use direct flame, right? So that is why generally we will go for indirect flame. So that is just heating. We will use two different instruments. One is heating mantle. So inside there is a coil. Inside there is a coil, uh, just normal heating coil, electrical heating coil, and on the top of that it is covered with a thermally conducting layer. Then we will place the RB flask inside the heating mantle so that when we switch on the instrument, it will supply heat energy. So this is one way of supplying thermal energy to heat the RB flask. Now, other way is we can use an oil bath. What is an oil bath? Take a heating plate, then place an oil bath. What is this oil bath? It is a normal glass bowl which contains oil. Generally, we use silicone oil. When we heat this heating plate using electricity, then this heat energy will be supplied to silicone oil. Here also we are using electrical energy to generate thermal energy. Silicone oil can be used to heat the reaction mixtures up to 300 degrees centigrade. Silicone oil is the best heating oil. So what we will do, we will place an RB flask inside the silicone oil. We will use some stands to hold this, right? We will use some stands to hold this, right? So this is how we will supply thermal energy to the reacting systems in a lab. Now, what is distillation? There are different techniques: normal distillation, vacuum distillation, and fractional distillation. These are the three methods which are used to purify mixture of solvents. What is normal distillation? For a simple distillation, we need distillation condenser. What is distillation condenser? This is called as a distillation condenser. And this is having an outer layer of glass tube which has a water inlet and water outlet. This is having water inlet and water outlet. Generally, we will use cool water. So this is normal condenser, or we call it as a distillation condenser. How we will use this distillation condenser? A distillation condenser can be fitted to an RB. It can be fitted to an RB, and other side also it is fitted to an RB. Now, this is the RB is placed inside a heating mantle. This is water outlet. This is water inlet. Probably you might have seen it in our chemistry lab. Now, when we supply heat energy, then the heat energy is transferred to the compound in the RB flask. Then this heat energy is used to convert this liquid solvent into vapor solvent. So when the boiling point reaches, solvent will be evaporated. When the vapor is generated, it will pass through this glass tube. Now, when it reaches or when it enters into this region, what we are doing? We are supplying cool water. We are supplying cool water. So when vapor enters here, the cool, whatever the higher energy that vapor carries, it will be transferred to this cooling system. So the energy from the vapor will be absorbed by the cooling system. So the vapor will get condensed. Vapor will get condensed. Then when it is condensed, again it becomes liquid. It becomes liquid. Again it becomes liquid. So this is how we will purify mixture of solvents using normal distillation. Now, why mixture of solvents are purified here? Here in a mixture, for example, there are two different liquids, for example, water and toluene. Water and toluene. Now, water boiling point is 100 degrees centigrade. Toluene boiling point is around 180 degrees centigrade. Now, when we heat this mixture, what happens? At 100 degrees centigrade, that means from around 90 degrees centigrade itself, water starts boiling. So when we keep the heating temperature at 100 degrees centigrade, then all the water in this mixture will be converted to vapor and then it will be separated. Once all the water is completed, then again we will raise the temperature to 170 to 180 degrees centigrade. Then toluene will be vaporized. So we will change this RB flask once water is collected. Then we will place new RB to collect toluene. So this is how we will separate mixture of solvents. The basic principle is when compounds which are having large boiling point differences, large boiling point differences, then they can be easily purified by simple distillation or normal distillation. Only thing is we need mixture of solvents which are having large boiling point differences. You know, if you want to try to separate water and ethanol is having 80 degrees centigrade as a boiling point, water is having 100 degrees centigrade. Their boiling point difference is very, very low. So when we try to distillate that, then what happens? Ethanol will come in the beginning, but after some time, water will also come as a mixture. So when the boiling point difference is lower, it is around 25 degrees centigrade, then normal distillation will not work. Normal distillation will work only when the boiling point differences are very, very large. Generally, the difference must be from more than 30 degrees centigrade. If it is more than 30 degrees centigrade, then only we can use normal distillation. Now, what is vacuum distillation? Vacuum distillation means, for example, take triethylamine. Triethylamine boiling point is around 300 degrees centigrade. I don't remember exactly, but if you want to supply this much of energy, it is very, very difficult. You know, I said silicon oil can be used to supply 300 degrees centigrade, but that is the extreme case, right? So when we have liquids whose boiling point ranges are from 250 to 300 degrees centigrade, then the separation of these liquids using normal distillation is highly difficult. Then in that case, we will use vacuum distillation. What is vacuum distillation? Vacuum distillation is a simple extension of normal distillation. So this is the normal distillation condenser, right? This is the normal distillation condenser. Now, what is vacuum distillation condenser? Here we will have a separate space which can be connected to a vacuum pump. We will connect it to a vacuum pump. Then when we switch on this vacuum pump, what will happen? Whatever the vacuum, I'm not writing the entire setup. I'm just giving only the vacuum distillation condenser. When we apply vacuum, what happens? Whatever inside air is there, it will be completely removed by the vacuum pump. It will be completely removed by the vacuum pump. Then there is a vacuum. Now, what is the boiling point of a compound in vacuum and without vacuum? Now, under vacuum, normally liquids will boil at a very low temperature. Why? Anyone? Why? Solvents will boil at a low temperature in vacuum than normal. Any answer? Anyone can answer my question. If you know the boiling point definition, then you will understand why liquids boil at a low temperature in vacuum. What is boiling point? When we supply heat energy, then liquid will be converted to vapor. Now, when the vapor pressure of a boiling liquid becomes equal to atmospheric pressure, then that temperature, I'm not writing it, that temperature is called as boiling point. Now, if the vapor pressure becomes equal to atmospheric pressure, then the liquid will easily boil. Now, what is happening under the vacuum? Vacuum is nothing, right? Vacuum means there is nothing, there is no pressure at all. What we are doing when we apply vacuum pump, whatever the pressure inside these instrument, it will be completely removed. When there is no pressure, then the vapor pressure of the liquid will easily matches with the low pressure here. Vacuum means low pressure. In other words, vacuum is low pressure. When we are decreasing the pressure inside the instrument, then what happens? The boiling liquid will easily matches its vapor pressure with the low pressure inside the instrument. In a normal open atmosphere, when we heat it openly, we need to get 1 atmosphere pressure. We need to get 1 atmosphere vapor pressure for this liquid. But under vacuum, the pressure is very, very low. It is lower than 1 atmosphere. It is very, very low compared to 1 atmosphere. So the pressure, the vacuum pressure can easily matches the low pressure in the system. So it will easily boil. So that is why a liquid will boil at a very low temperature under the vacuum compared to normal. So when we apply vacuum, what happens? The boiling point of the liquid will decrease. When we apply vacuum, boiling point will be decreased. So when we try to distill triethylamine under normal conditions, we need to supply around 300 degrees centigrade. But when we do the same distillation under vacuum, the boiling point may be around 150 degrees centigrade. Under vacuum, the boiling point may be around 150 degrees centigrade. Now, 150 degrees centigrade energy can be easily supplied compared to 300 degrees centigrade. So that is why normally solvents or liquid compounds with very high boiling points will be purified under vacuum distillation.